We're on to day 6. Let's see if there's any tricks. Hi and welcome to another episode, and what we've got here is the PiHut Advent Calendar, the 12 projects of Codemas. What have we got in day 6? Let's have a finding out expedition. Oh, wires and stuff. It's always wires and stuff, isn't it? Well, not always, but quite often. Right, what have we got? What have we got? What have we got? Some of these bags are quite difficult to get into. There we go. Well, there we are. End to end. We've got a resistor, and we've got an LED with a flat top. It's not curved in the realms of what we're normally used to in LEDs. Still an LED, but it looks a bit dull. And the resistor. What value is unknown to me right now. Let's go across to the website and hit day number 6. Looking for light. That explains the LED. Welcome to day 6 of your 12 projects of Codemas Advent Calendar. Today we're using a light sensor. Oh, it's a light sensor, which, you guessed it, can detect the amount of light around it and provide us with a reading value which we can use in our code. The light sensor we're using is another analog component, which means it's able to provide a nice range of values to give us a really granular light reading for our projects. Let's go! Day number 6, blah 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 blah. We know what it is. Oh, it's a 10k resistor. There we go. Today's project. Today we'll be learning how to take analog readings from our light sensor and converting those into something more useful, as well as some other new tricks to manipulate data and strings. We'll also make a light indication project with our LEDs. Sensors similar to those are used everywhere in the world around us, in street lamps, vehicles, room lighting, and more. They detect the amount of light, and it determines the amount of electrical current that passes across the legs and therefore into our Pico as an input. A great one to learn and use in many projects. Construct the circuit. Okay, let's have a look. We're going to use the LEDs again and also the buzzer to leave them in place and remove everything else. Your circuit should look like this to start with. Okay. Right, so we already know the USB is unplugged. We need to remove this and remove this and this one, and there we go. We've got rid of the potentiometer or the variable resistor. That's how the circuit looks already. Before we start with today's circuit, we must stress that you need to pay close attention to the legs of the light sensor. If you get the wiring wrong here, your light readings won't make a lot of sense. With that in mind, grab your mini breadboard and fit the sensor with a long leg to the left. It should look like this. Okay, right. Let's get our mini board, pull out the wires, and potentiometer, there we go, that's out of the way. Right, what did it say? The long leg to the left, so you can figure it out for yourself. The long leg seems to have done it the second row down, and pretty much in the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and to the right of the pins is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and there. There we go. That's in there. Obviously, we're going to have to get some wires now, aren't we? Now we need to add 3 wires and the resistor. Okay. Connect the right leg, which is a short one, to the 3.3 pin at the physical pin 36. Let's have a look at the diagram. Okay, so it's actually going to bring it this way around. That's fine. So I have a red wire, and we're going to go from just below the short leg, which is now the right leg on the LEDs. Let's zoom in a little bit because I'm a bit far out. we go. Let's try to line things up a bit and move this resistor. We'll need that for later. Come on, camera, zoom in. Focus, focus, focus. Right, so we've got that there. We need pin 36. So 40, 39, 38, 37, 46 is actually going to be on the bottom row. So that's J5. Does that make sense? 40, 39, 38, 37, 36. Yep. So J5. The left leg, we're going to use a different color wire. We don't have a blue one right now, so let's just grab the yellow one. And we're going to put that next to the left leg, there, here. The longer leg, and we need that in pin 31, so we know for sure that's 36. So 34, 33, 32, 31, and that's pin J9. Add the resistor to connect the left leg over to the other empty unused lane on the breadboard. Okay, so left leg, we'll use the bottom row for this. Can we see on here? Going from there, and the fourth on the left. You see that? Just that one there. So 1, 2, 3, 4 from the left, and then in line with the left leg of the light sensor. And now we get a black wire, and they go 3 pins up from there. And we want that to go into the bottom row. So it doesn't really matter. We'll go into this third pin here on the blue, and that's that. So connect the other end of the resistor to the ground pin on your Pico. We're using a blue lane as it's already connected to the ground of our LEDs. So there we go. That's that done now. Simple light sensing. Let's start with a simple starter program which grabs a light reading for us. This is a minimal program to return the analog value once, which isn't all that useful to humans, but will convert it to something more practical in the next activity. In this example, we import ADC to use the ADC function, set up the sensor GPIO pins as an ADC pin, create a variable called light, which reads the sensor value, and print the variable value, the sensor reading. Copy the code below over to Thorny and give it a try. Okay, first things first, hang around, get hold of the USB cable that I've got. Let's plug it in. And see what happens with the code. First things first, press stop. There we go, make sure it's working. Now we copy code. Oh. Now we copy code, paste it, and run it. And it's given us a value of 2,224. What number did you get? Let me know in the comments below. Right, activity number 2, making light readings usable. We know we can grab a single reading from the sensor with a very short program, but we really need that reading to be in the format that can be used and recognized. In the example below, we convert the reading to a percentage using a little maths. This can come in handy in one of our later boxes when we, oops, nearly dropped a spoiler there. Oh dear, something interesting is happening later on then. We'll show you a few examples as there are some other tricks we can use to make our printed values even more useful. Okay, example number 1. This example takes the readings and turns it into a percentage. It divides our reading by 65,535, the maximum of the analog reading range, then multiplies it by 100 to give us the percentage. Well, that's how you do, isn't it? New divided by old multiplied by 100. Right. There. That's what it does. So let's get rid of this. And as I say every day, you might want to actually copy the code by hand instead of cutting and pasting. It gives you muscle memory and ideas on what does what. It slows you down a little bit, but it gives you more chance to understand. So let's run it. So we've got a percentage of 12.64973. Not very bright then, I would assume. If it's only 12 and a bit, just over 12.5% bright. Example number 2. This example builds on the previous one by limiting the number of decimal places, as we don't really need that much detail for something like a light reading. To do this, we use the built-in round function. In our percentage calculation, you'll see this below where we use round, light, divided by 65,535 multiplied by 100, 1. This taking the lighting reading, applying to the same percentage calculation, the final number of 1 defines how many decimal places to use. Try the example below, then try changing that last number to 2 or 3 to see what happens, and then try removing the comma and the number altogether, which will remove the decimal. So, again, let's cut and paste and see how far we get. 13.9. Because it's gone up a bit in the brightness, isn't it? Let's run it again. 13.14. It must be fluctuating, but it's sensing. And that makes sense on why it rounded up. Oh, it's 12.9. So yeah, it's not a steady number it's reading. Anyway. Oh yeah, it wanted us to remove it entirely, didn't it? See what happens. Just to prove the fact that it doesn't give a decimal point at all now. Fine. Example number 3. Final example adds the percent symbol at the after the reading. We do this by adding some parts to our print line. Normally when we print the reading, the value is a number. In our example, it's a float to be exact, as it has a decimal place. It should say decimal place, decimal point. But anyway. However, if we want to print that value along with text at the same time, the percent symbol, we need to convert everything to a string or a text. The print function will not let us mix both together. We can do this by using the built-in str function, which converts the values to strings. We use the str light percent to convert our light value reading to a string, then add another string next to this with the plus quotation marks, percent sign, quotation marks. You can see this in the example below. Give it a try. Okay, let's give it a try. Close that. Start a new one. Get the code. Oh, 18.1%. As we say, this is basically light percent is equal to round light, blah, 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 blah. And then we want the percent sign added, so it's to print that string, that value, which is a float. We're converting that to a string using this, and then we're printing it at the end so we can print it. Activity number 3, light level LED indicators. We've covered grabbing the readings and converting the values, so let's put that to work with a nice little light indication project using LEDs. We're going to run the example when we continually check the light reading and assign our 3 LEDs to a range of readings: red, which will indicate a low light reading level, amber for normal, and green for high. The code. In the example below, we add our LEDs back into our code and define the pin numbers. We also define the light sensor pin before we start a while loop. The while loop grabs the reading for the sensor and converts that to percentage like we did earlier, Then use if statements. A light, a different LED depending on the percentage reading, similar to what we did in day 4. Copy this over to Thonny, run the code, then use your phone's camera light, a torch, or simply turn your lights off to see the changes with the program. Once complete, why not try adding the buzzer code from yesterday's box back in to alert us when the light goes below 30%. I'll let you do that yourself. I'm not going to keep trying to slow everything down. Right, let's get this going then. New bit, copy the code, paste it in, and run it. So it's red. That means it's low lit. At the moment it's quite bright. So I'm going to mess around and bring my phone's torch in. Can we even see? I'm going to try doing it. Does it even work? How much bright light does it want? It's not adjusting very much, is it? Trying to move the wires out of the way so the light's going directly on it. Does it come from the side more? No. It's hooked up properly, but doesn't seem to be changing anything. Maybe it's, I don't know what's wrong with it. I really don't. So I've messed around, I've plugged it all in, I don't know what's wrong with it. I don't know if the code is a little bit wrong. I'm going to have to double check that. I'm going to check my wiring again, even though I've already checked it. I know the sensor, the left leg, is the one on the left. But I'm going to do all of that off camera and maybe comment about it tomorrow as if I've got it working or something, or when we come across this extra bit of kit that it mentions in a later box. Or I might have to contact PiHut and say, hey, my sensor's broken. Either way, please let me know if yours works in the comments, or come along to Discord. It'd be nice to know if other people have got it right and what fixes have done, or it just works straight out of the box. Apart from that, let's have a look at what's happening with the day 6. It says, good job makers, we've learned how to use another sensor today, as well as introducing some new ways to manipulate values and strings. We're going to use the sensor again before the end of the calendar, as it's a great partner for a component hiding in one of the boxes. So what did we learn today? Today we learned how to wire a light sensor circuit, learned how to manipulate data to make it more useful to us and our programs, learned how to convert values to strings with the strip function, learned how to use the round function to limit the decimal places, learned how to combine multiple strings in prints. As always, please leave the circuit as it is and wait for tomorrow's box before removing any parts. Sleep well. And from me, don't forget to check out the description for links for my Patreon and my Discord. Don't forget to hit that like button, the subscribe button, and that notification bell so that you know what's happening tomorrow. But as always, happy gaming.